Gotta get the launch here flat. Hello and welcome back to another video. In this episode we're diving with my flatmate Samuel. We're heading out on his boat to explore the Whangarei harbour. The Whangarei heads are an excellent location for both fishing and diving, being accessible and relatively sheltered. Despite this, they are also very good for experienced people, with depths dropping off into the abyss. A short boat trip can put you in some deep water out here, something you don't find often on the coast. The topography above ground can tell you a lot about what's happening below, and this place is no exception, with huge drop-offs and steep faces. This is my first time diving the area. I am very excited. It is just me in the water. Alright, cool. See you soon.
Alright, mate.
Roller guns are my preferred style of guns. There's a lot more to go wrong, however, when you get them set up right, they fire beautifully. To start out, what I'm usually going to do is do drops into deep and shallow areas. I'm trying to work out where the fish are, whether they hang out deep or shallow. In the winter, I find deep water to be less productive. Things seem to be very dependent on sun and sunlight. In the shallows, on kelpie boulders, the fish bask in the little sunlight that makes it through the murky waters. Kelpie forests give way to caverns, underground and underwater, that I dare not explore. Butterfish weave through sunlit kelp, their home and their food. When I started spearfishing, the very first fish that I got was a butterfish. Since then, I have grown to really enjoy hunting them. I find targeting butterfish very engaging. They'll approach you, but it's up to you to close that last 2 to 3 meters. They'll never really fully come in. I find hunting them very engaging and enjoyable. When targeting butterfish nowadays, I'm pretty picky, so waited for this nice sized male to come through before taking a shot. As well as being great fun to hunt, these fish are also excellent on the table. Pan fried, in burgers, however you like really. They're not great as sushimi, but aside from that, they're a great fish. When spearfishing, you ideally want to be using a float boat, but this day I was just using a small float because I was diving off a boat. To find butterfish, find where the swell is meeting shallow reef structure. Butterfish like it when the kelp is moving around. They don't like it when it's still. When it's moving, there's more opportunities for them to hide and evade predators. They're experts at this. Butterfish are very calm and relaxed usually, but when one goes into the kelp and wants to be out of there, you'll never see it again. Hunting butterfish is usually pretty shallow diving, no more than about 5 meters. So you're holding on with your left hand, compensating for that positive buoyancy, but as well as that, you can also use it to lunge out, pushing off with your left hand and taking a shot with your right, gaining that last couple meters distance and then making the shot. With 2 butterfish on board, we're going to leave the rest. We're going to focus our attention on something different. Give the butterfish a break. After all of that shallow diving, I had to do something deep. Not super deep, but anyway. Went down, did a couple drops. There was really not that much happening, except for the school of pories. When the visibility isn't very good, the sunlight just can't get down, and these lower levels of the water column just get nothing, no energy, and there's not many fish down there. It's sad. I'd much rather do deep diving than shallow diving, but often the first 10 meters is the best 10 meters, and that's where you're going to find all the fish. The best case scenario in spearfishing is having the fish come to you. If you can park yourself up in an area where there's fish about, sure enough, if you stay there long enough, the fish are going to come in and you're going to get some good shots. So you just got to wait it out, be calm, be relaxed. Fish are very good at reading body language. Your thoughts and feelings on the inside translate to how you act on the outside. If you can stay calm, the fish are going to come to you and they're going to be very inquisitive. Such as this one. This big blue mau made a big mistake. I would personally rate blue mau as a top tier sushimi fish. Excellent taste, excellent texture. It is a species that not many people target, making it a more sustainable option. Stone shots ensure no pain or suffering to the fish. It is dead immediately. Alright, time for another spot. Let's get in the boat. Oh. Okay, now let's try that again. The second spot we've gone to today is a pinnacle coming out of deep water. I don't even know where, somewhere off the eastern point of the Whangarei heads. It was pretty scary diving, to be honest. There was a lot of current, it was murky. I was having trouble actually finding where the pinnacle was, and when I did, you couldn't even see it from the surface. you're relying on seeing schooling bait fish or just occasional shadows, glimpses in the dark. Anyway, had this painted moki come in. That was pretty cool, the first one I've actually ever seen, as well as some big cohero. I didn't shoot them because I thought something else might come through, good or bad. Anyway, that spot didn't last too long, wasn't very good conditions there, so we ended up pulling up anchor and heading on to a new spot. The luxury of having a boat is that's something you can do. You can move around. If an area is not working out, hey, you can just try somewhere else. It's not an option you have a lot of the time when you're shore diving. The third spot today is the island. A fractionated rock descends into the water and causing caverns and crevices into the darkness of the island. Tantalizing depths, but ones that call my name, but I dare not answer. Underwater caves and caverns often have strong currents and undertows, invisible to the naked eye, but you'll definitely know when you're in one, but it could be too late. Diving on your own does have some advantages, however, there are also some very big disadvantages. For example, safety. If anything goes wrong, you're on your own out there. It's best not to be diving in caves. If you're free diving or scuba diving by yourself, this is really not a good idea. Don't push yourself when you're alone. That said, even when you're with a buddy, it's best to be diving within your limits, especially if that's someone who can't help you if you're, say, 25 meters down. You need to be aware of the skill level of your buddy and dive at depths so they can actually help you if something does go wrong. Otherwise there's no point in them being there. Don't push yourself going down trying to set personal best to say 30 meters if you're diving with someone who's only ever been to 12. The next clip is something that I am not proud of and absolutely do not condone. Shooting fish to use as burley. I knew what was going on at the time. I knew exactly what the fish was. I shot the silver drummer and intended to use it as burley. Something I'm not proud of. It felt wrong at the time and I still did it anyway. Luckily for me, it was a stone shot, killing the fish outright, causing no real pain or suffering to it. However, I felt terrible. And pulling the fish up, I realised it was actually a decent size. I ended up cutting it up and using it for burley. Long story short, I ended up spooking a couple good snappers off it. Ended up killing this fish for naught. At least the snappers got a feed. After this, my GoPro ended up going flat, so I didn't get a lot of the footage from the end. However, the last 3 drops were crazy. Going down, shooting a pigfish on the first, one of a pair. Going down again, shooting a kahawai, stoning that, doing another drop, and shooting another pigfish, the last one of the pair. So it was a pretty good day out there overall. I really enjoyed it, exploring some new areas. However, I'd like to say shooting fish to use as burley is just not that cool, and that's what today's sustainability message is. Just avoid shooting fish for burley, and from now on that's something that I'm going to try to stick to. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. Cheers.